Hey everyone, this is Daniel,
And I'm Jun,
and we are
Korean.
American.
Hey Daniel,
Hey Jun.
is that shirt also from the thrift shop?
No.
Mm.
Oh, funny you mentioned the shirt, Jun.
Hmm.
It's one of the nicer shirts that I own.
Oh, really?
I bought it because I recently went to Sweden
Mm.
for a wedding, and I didn't
Oh.
want to look like a complete scrub, so I had to
Mm.
buy some nice Euro kind of
Oh, you do look
clothing.
very Euro.
Well, I shouldn't have the undershirt underneath.
Yeah.
Then I would look
Hmm.
much more Euro.
Hmm.
But it's from a European brand.
Can I guess?
Go for it.
Zara.
Good guess. Not Zara.
COS?
Not Cos.
Am I getting closer?
I have no idea. Is Cos higher than Zara?
I think so.
Okay. It's probably in that ballpark then.
I don't know.
I don't even know what it's called. Massimo Dutti?
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that brand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yes.
Is that
So
actually European?
pretty sure.
Mm. It sounds European.
I never verified, but I'm pretty
Sounds Italian to me.
I would guess it's an Italian brand, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway, I was in Sweden for
Mhm.
5 nights.
Where in Sweden?
Stockholm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Cool. Was it your first time there? 'Cause-
Ta-da! June, I brought you some Swedish
Yes.
treats.
Thank you.
These are legit Swedish fish, which to my American surprise,
Konfektyr.
to my American surprise, Swedish fish are not red in Sweden.
They're not, but I did have a Swedish coworker,
Yeah.
and he brought some snacks back from home,
Uh-huh.
which was like a salty licorice
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Which is
So
crazy.
to be clear, Sweden is famous, I think, for their licorice, but I guess the
What
Swedish
is licorice?
fish.
What is licorice? Because Korean people wouldn't know.
Oh, I don't know how to describe it. It's like
It's kind of
typically
like
black, I
Yeah.
believe, and then it tastes kind of bitter. It's not a good taste. It's not a.
for me, it tastes kind of like molasses.
I don't know what molasses sounds tastes like. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not your typical just sweet sugary snack.
Hmm.
It's definitely an acquired taste, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
The famous licorice candy growing up was Good and Plenty.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, Gene, whenever I went trick or treating, came home that night, was sorting through my candy.
People give out licorice.
Oh yeah, it was very very common. The
Oh.
licorice just kind of got thrown away. Oh, I do think Twizzlers are kind of like a licorice type
Ah.
flavor, but
I wouldn't be surprised if it was derived from that. At
but
least
very
the form.
very light.
Yeah.
Yeah. Twizzlers is nothing like strong licorice.
Mm-mm-mm.
Yeah. But anyway, the original Swedish fish I learned while in Sweden, it's just a regular candy that was shaped like a fish.
Is
it
it
doesn't
a
taste like a
specific
fish.
fish?
I believe it's shaped like a specific fish that is on the
It looks
title.
like yeah. It has a fish picture.
Yeah, so when I was
On the
looking at it,
wrapping.
I was like, why would anyone buy candy that tastes like fish? But the lady assured me it doesn't taste like fish. It's just shaped like a fish.
And what's the other one?
The other one is a chocolate covered marshmallow type thing. June, can you read the name of the market?
Carla Fruit.
Carla Frucht. I researched and heard that this was a very famous candy store. And so I had to go get some candy for my kids, but also, to bring as gifts for others, including you. So, yeah.
Wait, do they use an empirical measurement system?
Pretty sure. So you pay by gram.
Or wait, I'm just surprised that they have 6 in here.
Oh.
Not 5 nor 10, but 6.
So
Half a dozen.
they had a bunch of I guess what would you call it, prepackaged snack packs that you can take. But then of course they had the wall of maybe not 100, but at least like 50 plus different things where you can just use a scoop and then you pay by weight. So it was a very epic candy store. Yeah, it did not disappoint.
Nice. I'm specifically excited about this one.
Oh really?
Yeah, because it's chocolate covered marshmallow.
Well, that one's definitely going to be delicious.
Yeah.
But the Swedish fish is, June, that's like a famous thing, Swedish fish.
I know, but like,
Aren't you excited to eat Swedish fish?
Let me try it now, actually.
Oh. Kind of lemony. Definitely citrusy.
Oh, I like that it's not that sweet.
Not that sweet, yeah. It's good.
It's good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's very pretty.
I love gummies, yeah. Wait, should we let people actually see the design? It's definitely shaped like a fish.
What shapes? Yeah, it looks exactly like the
What's
fish.
on the package.
Yeah. I like it.
So yeah, I was in Sweden for a former coworker's wedding. And I don't know, I think like I worked with him closely maybe 6 years ago. So I was a bit surprised, but then I wasn't surprised either because I think at one point we talked a lot about his home country, Sweden, Stockholm. And he was always like, yeah, Kim, you should visit. I'm like, I'm never visiting unless you like get married there. He was like, oh, in fact, I probably will want to have a wedding ceremony there. So I will invite you. And I never, if he didn't invite me, I would never have been like hurt or anything. But every, year or two, I'd be like, hey, buddy, like getting married yet? I really want to visit Sweden.
Yeah.
So I think because I kept saying that, he and his now wife did visit Korea once or twice.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I did meet up with him in Korea too.
To visit you?
Just to visit Korea, but
Interesting.
not me in particular, but we met up. We got coffee, had a meal.
His
So
wife
we've
is
kept in
not
touch.
Korean either.
No, he is a Swedish born and raised, very tall man. Jun, he's 6'8". I think it's like 204 centimeters. He's really tall.
Yeah, as true with all Swedish
The Nordics,
people.
yeah, the Viking blood. And then his wife is Chinese American.
I see.
So, but yeah, that was a great excuse to visit Sweden and Stockholm. Super beautiful, like all of Europe. I've come to realize I've gone to Europe twice now in 2 years.
Yeah.
After not having gone a single time in the first 40 years of my life.
Yeah. But interestingly enough, not your typical European country.
I've still never been to London, never been to Paris. Yeah.
Berlin.
Berlin, Amsterdam, have not
Yeah.
been to those. So, yeah.
You visit an IKEA?
Of course I did, June.
Do they have like specifically only like exclusively only in Sweden?
I did not notice that, no. Yeah. And the official, like, the headquarters, the original IKEA, it's like 3 hours away from the main city, from Stockholm. So I didn't have time to do that. But I just visited the city center, IKEA City.
Wait, there's an IKEA city?
It's just called IKEA City.
Oh, the ones that are in the city.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you went to like a city called IKEA. Because do you know Toyota is a city name?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No.
It's because they're based off on.
Oh, is that why they're
Toyota.
called Toyota?
Yeah.
Because their headquarters was in Toyota City?
I have to fact check.
Live fact checking, June. Who are we?
Yes, sir. Toyota City, Aichi Prefecture,
Wow.
Japan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Isn't that a weird way to name your company?
After where it's founded?
Yeah.
I feel like it happens a lot though. Like maybe it was more common in the past.
Can you imagine like a car company called like Daegu?
Now, is that not? I mean, Daewoo is kind of like.
Oh, Daegu.
I know. That wouldn't sound that weird to me.
Oh, like for other people outside of
Yeah.
Korea, maybe it just sounds like a foreign whatever sound.
I think back in the day, right? Anything that was manufactured, I feel like it would be a common thing to name it from the city where it was built.
Really?
Right?
What
Because it's
are
like,
the-
oh, that's, I don't know, like a Toyota car. It's from Toyota. It's like, we know that's quality.
Oh.
I feel like anything could be branded or labeled just like that's a big part of its origin. And from that, you can infer like, oh, it's high quality. It's from that country, whatever. I don't know.
What's the famous company from your hometown?
I don't think there are any
There aren't any?
famous companies from my hometown.
Yeah.
And even my home state. I don't.
Under Armour.
Okay, yeah, that I'll share that one. I like Under Armour. Yeah, Under Armour is a sports apparel company, and they were founded in Baltimore, Maryland. So, I think in semi recently too. I don't think Under Armour existed when I was born. So, but yeah, that's about it. There's a lot of companies headquartered in Maryland now, but like actually founded in Maryland. I would have just guessed Old Bay for like the Old Bay spice. Like I don't, nothing else comes to mind.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh, it's a very famous seasoning blend that Marylanders like to put
Oh,
on everything.
McCormick. This is a seasoning blend.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder if Old Bay came out of McCormick. I don't know, but yeah.
Nice.
Why are they famous companies from Daegu?
Yes, Samsung.
Okay, that's pretty famous. That's pretty famous.
CJ.
CJ?
Yeah.
Wait, so wow, Daegu's big.
Because it's a whole like Samsung family.
Oh,
Yeah.
all the subsidiaries or
Yeah.
1 or 2 degrees away.
By the way, did you know that Samsung became like the 8th largest
Company by market cap in the world.
market cap? Yeah,
Yeah,
in the world.
it passed some big heavy hitters. Okay, all right. Daegu, hometown of Samsung.
Yeah. Yeah. So you went to IKEA. Sorry, I cut you off.
I mean, wait, are we going to talk about my Sweden trip?
Why not?
Here's the thing, June. I never expected that we'd talk about it because we had kind of planned our final few episodes.
Yeah.
And we did not have any where we were going to talk about daily life. But I did note, June, while I was in Stockholm in Sweden and traveling, I was taking notes all the time.
Oh.
Even knowing that I wouldn't have the chance to talk about it
So it's a habit.
on air, it's really a habit now.
Nice.
And I guess maybe in some, deep, dark recess of my mind, I'm like, oh, it would be great at some future point. I could share this with someone or people or whatever. But I think just the habit of like noting things that I pick up so I don't forget or I can look back on it. I think it makes my travel experience more rich now anyway.
Nice.
It's become a habit is what I'm saying.
Wow.
So I do have notes on Sweden, but
Do
I
you
was
know
never
that there are people who have jobs like that?
to just travel and note things.
Yeah.
No.
Like, so there are people, these are like deep researchers who like, let's say if like Samsung wants to launch whatever their business in some country in Africa,
Yeah.
they would send these people and they would just like stay there for months,
Yeah.
and like note everything down that people do,
Wow.
and find like the root causes of why they're doing this.
Wait, this sounds like my dream job. I would love that.
Yeah,
I think I'd be
it's
good at it
crazy.
too.
Yeah, they
Wow.
just like sip coffee in the morning and
Yeah.
see what people are doing in the
Yeah,
morning.
just observe and note
Yeah.
things that I guess the home company that's building needs to know, right? If they want to succeed in that market.
Yeah,
Wow. It's almost like a cultural anthropologist.
exactly.
Do I need to get a degree? Is this podcast enough?
So you did take notes.
I took a lot of notes.
Yeah.
I'm not. We don't have time to go through them. Okay, how about you just speed run it? We'll see if we'll probably delete them. First of all, my flight was out of Incheon through Finnair, and we flew over the North Pole. So because of the
Oh.
Russia-Ukraine conflict, I think all Russian airspace is off limits. And so they actually fly over the North Pole.
Nice.
So on this flight, I was on top of the world, literally. I even got a little certificate, which is kind of cheesy, but also cool. But then I landed in Helsinki, Finland, before moving on, taking a very short connecting flight to Stockholm. Finland, blueberry juice everywhere. I think they're very proud of blueberry juice. I've
Oh,
never
really?
had blueberry juice before this flight.
Wow.
Yeah, since I drank it like 8 times at least. Yeah.
Because you usually have blueberries as a smoothie.
Or something.
Yeah.
Just like the idea of blending I've never heard of blueberry juice. You got the big ones, right? You got apple, you got orange.
Yeah.
Like, I guess you could go to grape maybe.
Yeah.
But beyond that, everything's like long tail, kind of unique. But never heard of blueberry juice.
How was it?
Good. Tastes
Yeah.
like blueberries.
Koreans would never make blueberry juice
Because
it's so expensive.
That was also the first thought I had.
Yeah.
It's like, what a luxury. Everything is called fudge. So I don't know if it's like a melted, you might know better than me. Is there a difference between fudge and chocolate and caramel? Like, what is fudge?
I think fudge is a bit more softer than chocolate.
Chocolate, right?
Well,
Okay,
caramel is totally different.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But fudge I thought was like maybe thicker and heavier and like more viscous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay. Anyway, all the snacks at the duty free were like fudge everything, which I never had fudge.
You're still in Finland at
In
this point.
Finland, yeah. There was reindeer and elk meat jerky, which I was very tempted to try, but I didn't. Oh, I call this like the Swedish uniform, which might be offensive, I don't know. But it's like there's so many people, like maybe 10% of the passengers were dressed in all black. They had like the black t-shirt
Yeah.
with the black jacket, with the skinny black jeans, with the black shoes, the black hat, and the black like headphones, over-ear headphones over their hat.
Wow.
So it's like it was not something you'd normally see.
Uh-huh.
They look very like Euro cool chic,
Serious.
but also kind of, yeah, very serious, but also really like, what's the right word?
Goth?
Not goth, because they didn't have black lipstick or anything
I
like
see.
that. No earrings, but very like indie music vibe, right? Because you don't see many people walking around Korea with like the over-ear headphones,
Yeah.
right? Either around the neck or on their head. But this was very standard, I noticed.
I think Northern Europe is really very known for music, right?
Yes, yeah.
A lot of K-pop is coming from Swedish composers, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Sweden is a small but mighty country. I have
Yeah.
to admit. I'll get to it later
Yeah.
if we have time. But anyway, yeah, it was. They look really cool to me. To be clear. Oh God, I have to vent on this. In Finland, their version of TSA or airport security, it was awful. Like it was admittedly early. I think we touched down like 6 a.m. But just to go through the most basic, simplest screening took forever. I was losing my mind.
Why
and
is
like
that?
all the other passengers too, I was just like, okay, I didn't have a tight connection. It wasn't really affecting me that much. But so many people were complaining. It was like, we just got off a 14-hour, 12-hour flight. Like, you're making us do this. You're unpacking our duty free. It's just everything was so slow.
Yeah.
And I did realize later on, Europe just rolled out like an EU-wide update to its travel regulations. So I think everyone's trying to figure out how to do this more efficiently. Because actually I was doing some research. Finland used to be known for super fast airport like transfers and security and everything, like hyper efficient. But because of this new EU regulation, they're trying to figure it out. So I think they just have to like update all their protocols and how they do things, whether they flag liquids and how things go through security. Everything I think is just being refreshed. So they're figuring it out. And I think it's only 1 or 2 months old. So.
I see.
But yeah, I was losing my mind. I was like, this actually reminds me of America. I saw like, there were like 30 of the Finnish, TSA equivalents, the airport security agents standing around. Out of the 30, maybe like 5 were doing work. The others were just like looking around doing nothing.
Whoa.
Meanwhile, it's so slow. It is so slow. And everyone was losing their minds.
I guess that's a common trade-off of like a very developed country and especially Europe, right?
Yeah.
There's no like energy anymore. There's like chill. If it were a person, they're just retired now.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, again, I don't want to bash Finland because I do think historically they take a lot of pride in being hyper fast and efficient. But I think because of these new requirements, they're all just trying to figure out how to get up to speed and they need some time to adjust.
What's
But-
from Finland, by the way? What's a
from
famous
Finland?
What's a famous brand?
So,
Saab, is that from Finland?
thought that was Sweden. You probably know better than me. I think all the Nordics, right? So Finland, Norway, and Sweden, they're actually like a powerhouse as far as like technology goes. I believe, is it Sony Ericsson, Nokia, like all of these telecommunication companies. I want to say like 5G was created and invented there. So
Really?
they're actually quite, given that they're not that big population wise, they've done a lot, I think, for the world. But I don't know exactly Finland versus anywhere else. Oh, the Sweden, I found out later after talking with some people. Okay, so here's the situation, Jun. I'm trying to take the express train. I'm trying to buy tickets from the airport into Stockholm, like downtown. And there are 3 kiosks. And, I get to the final checkout thing and it's like, oh, tap your card. I'm trying to tap my card, it's not working. And then I look to my left, right? They're stuck on the same step and they're getting frustrated. And I look to my right and they're on the same step. We're all trying to buy the same ticket, all stuck on the same spot. So I start with the family on my left. I'm like, oh yeah, just so you know, I'm stuck on the same thing, right? They literally pretend not to hear me. And so I get
Whoa.
closer. I'm like about to tap on their shoulder, but I don't. I just tap, I say it again. It's like, just so you know, it's not you. We're all stuck. We can't figure it out. It's like, they don't even like give me a side look. It's like I am completely unhearable to them. They're just ignoring me. Then I go to my right. I can tell they're getting frustrated. We're all frustrated. We're like, oh, we don't want to miss the train. What's going on? So I talked to the group on my right. I'm like, just so you know, I think we're all stuck on the same step. Same thing. They were like literally ignoring me. And I realized, I came to learn Swedish culture is very much like that. Very private. Personal space is important. You don't bother anyone else if you don't need to.
I see.
Right? It's not that they were being unfriendly. I just think why would anyone talk to them was maybe their mindset. I just thought that was very interesting.
Wait. It reminds me of something. Like this thing went very viral in Korean internet.
Yeah.
In Namu-wiki, which
Yeah.
is the Korean version of Wikipedia.
Yeah.
This is called the SwedenGate.
Oh, really?
So this actually started from a Reddit post.
Okay.
And someone talked about their experience being invited to a Swedish house.
Okay.
And so it says, I remember going to my Swedish friend's house. And while we were playing in his room, his mom yelled that dinner was ready.
Oh, okay. I know this. I know this. Yeah, yeah.
And check this. He told me to wait in his room while they ate. So you got a glimpse of that.
I also read that exact same Reddit post.
Yeah.
Did that go viral in Korea?
Yes. It's called the SwedenGate.
Wait, that's a pretty recent post. I think in the last month or two.
No, it's 2022.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I read that post. Maybe it was like an older one resurfaced. And I messaged it to my Sweden friend and said, what do you think about this?
Yeah.
So let's make sure we describe it properly for the listeners.
So this friend, obviously not Swedish, and was invited to his Swedish friend's house.
Yeah.
Which I believe that person lives with their parents.
Yeah.
And so they were in this friend's room together, hanging out, and then it was dinner time, and their parents told his friend to come down and get dinner. I guess the obvious thing in like a normal, I don't want to say normal, but let's say a Korean culture or an American culture,
yeah.
you would invite them to come eat dinner together.
Yeah.
But then the friend said, you should, like, I'm gonna get dinner, so wait in my room. Yeah.
Which is like the most awkward thing ever.
Yeah.
But for Swedes, it's common practice.
Oh, that's what your friend.
Yeah. So okay, wait. I literally messaged this Reddit post to him, and then I think it's okay to.
Is this the same friend?
It's the same. I don't. My only Swedish friend. Yeah. He said, okay. See, the thing that's wrong is that the child is going home to eat with their own family. We're just a very planned people. Like they're just well planned.
Oh, so if they knew ahead of time that this person would be there,
Yeah.
they would give them food.
I think if it was planned ahead of time, I think it would have been okay. But I think the host family's assumption is like, oh, if we feed them, like, what are they going to do when they get home? Because their home family, their actual family, is probably getting ready to serve them dinner.
Oh, I see.
So it's kind of like, well, we don't want to make any assumptions about other families. And I think I read some of this culture came from when Sweden was going through a very harsh economic time. And so it's almost like we don't want to burden any other family. So like, let's just no one do anything for anyone else's family.
I see.
And that's how they can almost survive in that way, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
I see.
So to be clear, my friend was like, there's nothing wrong with this. This is great behavior. This is normal.
Interesting.
But I agree with you. When I read it, I was like, that is wild.
Yeah.
It's like so unhospitable. But anyway, yeah. So I agree. This was kind of like that. Just like
Interesting.
keep to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jun, we're not gonna get. Let me really speed run this.
Yeah.
Okay, otherwise we're not gonna get through it. Honestly, I think like a lot of European cities, there was just so many bikes. Everyone was commuting by bike. Just really never-ending parade. Like, I think it was common to see like groups of like 10 or 20 bikes like have to stop for each other and negotiate like who's gonna go first. And then once that flood of bikes went going, it would just go
Wow.
on and on for like a minute. And then finally there was a break and the other one had to go through. I never once felt scared that I would get hit by a car. But I pretty much all the time was like, I'm going to get rolled over so hard by a bike because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not used to looking out for bikes. That many going that fast. It's just definitely a bike commuting culture.
Interesting.
And all sorts of bikes too. I think I saw one where it's like the husband was Anyway, there was something where like normally I'd expect a pet or a kid to be sitting, but there was like full-grown adults sitting in those.
Whoa.
So, imagine like biking around and in your front basket is another like adult human too. But it's not weird. It's just like common. People are just
Yeah.
using bikes to get around.
But a sidecar is kind of like that, if you think about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so many bikes. I said more afraid of bike riding in Sweden than driving in Korea. Like, oh, dude, the fashion of the standard, like the regular person walking around was insane. It literally looked like to me a fashion runway. The men and women both, they were just like dressed so nice. So definitely the what was that style you called? Like understated high-end fashion. You called it something in a previous episode.
Oh, demure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like, wasn't there a specific name you said?
Old money.
Yeah, old money fashion.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like everywhere.
Oh,
Like
really?
they looked so good. They had like the scarves and like the multiple layers of like, I can't even describe it. They just looked so cool and sophisticated. I was glad I bought my Massimo Duty before going there. I would have felt so out of place if I didn't buy clothes just for this trip.
How's the weather? Is it like
Amazing.
amazing?
It was amazing. So talking about weather, you know, the thing with Sweden is during the summer, it does get hot. It hadn't gotten hot yet, which is why they planned the wedding for this time. But it was like 18, 20-hour days.
Yeah.
Like the sun doesn't really set ever. It gets kind of darkish at like 11 or 12 at night, but then it's like bright again at 4.
Yeah.
So it's like, 18 hours, 20 hours of sunlight. Of course, in the winter, it's the opposite, I heard.
Yeah.
In a month, like January, you might get 10 hours of sunlight because even when the sun's supposed to be up, it's cloudy, it's raining. So, there's good and bad about it. But at least when I was there, the weather was just amazing. Yeah. Definitely 100% a jaywalking culture. Like, people literally did not seem to care what color the light was. If it was free to walk, they would just walk, which to me makes sense. I think it's right. Everyone was fit. No one was fat. Everyone was like super tall and really, really in shape. I was eating dinner, so a lot of my time was alone. I went alone on this trip because they said no kids allowed, and my kids are still in school anyway. So I was talking to one of the bartenders, and I was like asking him like, "Oh, what do you think about Americans?" Blah blah blah. I thought his comments were very on point.
What do you
And
say?
this is from the perspective of a bartender, right? So that colors this, but he's like, Americans are one, so loud. You hear them before you see them.
Yeah.
So if I like hear someone from across the room or down the street, I'm like, oh, probably an American. And then number 2, they love to customize everything. Because he's like, most Europeans will just say like, oh, let's give me that cocktail that you recommend.
Yeah.
But Americans will always specify like what kind of mixer, what kind of
Oh, so it's not a
alcohol.
Western thing. It's an American thing. Interesting.
He's like, they just customize everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so like, the bottles, like the plastic bottles, the top when it comes off,
Yeah.
there's a little bit left attached.
Yeah.
So
That's a European thing.
it's so good.
Yeah.
It's like the greatest thing ever. I don't know why every country in the world doesn't require it.
Yeah.
So these caps have to stay fixed to the bottle. Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
You never lose it.
I think it's like regulated at some point.
What do you mean? Like you're not allowed to not have them.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I want. I want every country in the world to mandate that the bottle caps have to stay attached. Okay. Oh, 2 more things I'll mention. One, there were so many kids being strolled around, and I honestly think it was about 70% of the time the father. So they call them prams, right? But they're like really big baby carriers. But yeah, their dads running or pushing them around. Like it was such a common scene to walk by a coffee shop, 2 dads sipping their coffee, dressed so nice, right? With their little prams and their babies in the pram next to each other. It's just like, I believe, don't quote me on this, for every child born, there's 18 months of parental leave. And the mom and dad can split it however much they want, right? So maybe the mom gets all of it. But I assume it's very, very common for the dad to take a lot of time off and, spend time with their kids when they're young. So even compared to the U.S., like U.S. is still predominantly, you'll see women with their babies outside. But here it was overwhelmingly, I think the majority of the time it was the dad with the kid outside. So it was just like so surprising to me. And then the final 2 things I want to mention, Swedish culture. I think 2 things that stuck out. One was called, let me get the phrase right. They really believe in this thing called lagom. So lagom means basically not too much, not too little.
Okay.
And I think it's a core philosophy in how they live.
Oh.
Like, let's not have too much, no excess, but also not too little. So like, let's live just right. And I don't know, it really resonates with me. That's kind of how I really try to raise my kids and the value I want to instill in them too. So I just love that it's like a core thing with Swedish culture. The other thing is I heard that they believe there's no such thing as bad weather, just bad outfits. And
What
so
does that mean?
in a sense, it's like even if it's raining outside, they're not gonna tell their kids to stay in. They're gonna give them the raincoat, give them the rain boots, and let them go play outside.
Wow.
Whether it's snowing or hot or whatever. It's like no bad weather, just bad outfits. And so again, I just love that philosophy. They're so, in a sense, what's the right word? It feels very balanced, very free and open, and I don't know, kind of, I would say chill but structured. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
It's not like it's not lawlessness, but they're just like live and let live, but in a very structured and, to quote my Swedish friend, very planned way. Like they like to plan for things.
Interesting.
And then because of that planning and preparedness, they can kind of deal with anything, if that makes sense. So I could talk a lot more, but yeah, I wasn't even expecting to talk about this. But those were some of my observations from Sweden.
Were there any interesting wedding traditions?
So many.
Should we skip that?
Oh, we don't have time. Okay, two things I'll mention. The wedding was, again, a Swedish man who now, has gotten his U.S. citizenship, and a Chinese American woman. And so it was a really good blend of both of those cultures. I would say the one thing that stood out was, the two things I want to mention. On the Swedish side, the wedding itself was very structured. So the MC or host, basically he was detailing like minute by minute almost how the night would unfold. And to me it felt very like, it's kind of dorky when you're so prescriptive about it. Like, why don't you just let it go? But it was like very structured. Okay, 15 minutes we'll be doing speeches. Okay, in 15 minutes we'll be doing this drink.
Wow.
And so it felt, again, a bit cheesy to me, but I quickly came to maybe appreciate that about it. It's like, I know exactly what's going to happen when. But the second thing that I was going to say is there's a lot of communal singing going on. So they like, maybe almost like when you talk about Korean drinking games, right? Everyone sings or does the same thing, chants the same thing in the same order. And there's something nice about that, like a bonding. So they also, before, they had like collective cheers. So they sing this like minute-long song, and then, shots are called snaps in Sweden, and then they do their shot, right? But it felt so cool, right? It's just like so communal. Everyone gets along, and then everyone's singing. They all do have beautiful singing voices, I think, because they practice so much. But it's just like, I had never experienced anything like that, right? Obviously, in like church services, you sing songs together, right? But this is just like everyone knows the chants, everyone knows the cheers, the tunes, the lyrics, and everything. And just to like say, we're gonna sing this one, we sing it, take a drink. It was kind of cool, yeah.
Nice. It sounds amazing. Like, was that outdoors?
The ceremony was outdoors, and this was at a Swedish castle, which I've come to learn though. I was also very excited. I was thinking like medieval knights, whatever. Castle, I think, just means kind of mansion, like a big house.
I see. But they rented the venue.
They rented a castle. Yeah. To be clear, it was a castle probably because like some royalty at one point built and lived there.
Yeah.
But it's just a big house. There's nothing like medieval about it.
Castles in Korea are luxury apartments.
Sky Castle.
Or like 롯데캐슬.
Jun, I have to say this before. Sorry. We're going so long. One of my afternoons, like I had a 4-hour maybe dedicated block. I called it my Avicii pilgrimage.
Oh, because you love Avicii.
I love Avicii.
Yeah.
Dude, going through it was called the Avicii Experience, like a museum dedicated to him and his music. It was downright spiritual for me. Oh my gosh.
Really?
Yeah. I feel such an affinity for him, and yeah, very inspired and even more motivated. I think, basically, he did end his own life due to mental health issues. And so there's a foundation in his name, Tim Bergling Foundation, really just trying to fight mental health and things like that, and prevent suicide. So it's something that really, really resonates with me. But the one thing I'd say that stood out is he released so much music in like just like a 5-year window. It's crazy how many like banger after banger after hit. It was such a compressed time frame. I didn't realize just how compressed it was. Like 2011 to 2016. And then the other thing that really stood out, he did end his life. He was at like the peak of his creative, what's the right word? So basically he had already decided to stop performing live and he just wanted to make music. So he made that incredibly hard decision, right? Disappointed so many millions of people, but he made it for himself. And then what he did was he got like 5 or 6 of his closest friends and collaborators together. They did like this road trip from LA to California or Miami somewhere. And along the way, they just like created a setup recording and studio booth in like national parks. Like think about that. They literally set up a recording booth in a national park, right? And on the way they did this and created so much music. And then, shortly after that, he ended his own life.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's like
so dramatic.
If anything, it felt like everything was falling in place, right? He like knew performing was too stressful. He stopped that. He was just going to focus on creativity with his close friends, and he did it. And then he died, right? And so they eventually posthumously, released a lot of those works that were partly done, not finished, but partly done. So at least we got to hear it. But just such a creative, like, yeah, I was very touched by everything I did as a part of the Avicii pilgrimage. So anyway, yeah.
I didn't know you were that into Avicii.
I feel a connection to him. Yeah. So I love his message too. He's just such a good guy. Yeah. Sorry. Anyway. Yeah. I could go on and on. Nobel Prize. Okay, this is funny. I went to the Nobel Museum. So the museum where they have all these artifacts related to Nobel Prize winners. Dude, the whole time in Sweden, I didn't see many Asian people. The Nobel Museum it was like 60% Indian and Asian. There's like so many Asians there, which I found kind of funny.
And very expected.
Very expected, yes. We Asians prize education very highly. Yeah. All right, that's enough for Sweden. June, what you been up to?
Not much. I don't think I've been this hardworking ever in my life. Like right now, today is a Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Like just before you came, I was still working. Cause I mean, granted, cause we're like rolling out this very like big update, but it is very intense.
June, I know you've been working like crazy. You definitely didn't work this hard when we were working together, which is not a bad thing.
I mean, I guess it's the velocity that is required.
Yeah.
Which we didn't have.
No. I was messaging you at like 11:30 one day.
Yeah.
At night, and I was like, "Oh, it's okay. Like, I'll send you the rest tomorrow. Like, I know it's probably late. You're probably getting ready to bed."
Yeah.
And you're like, "Oh, it's okay. I just teguned.
Yeah.
I just left work." I'm like, 11:30? You just left?
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah."
Crazy.
So I know you've been working, burning the midnight oil, so they say.
That was, I think, my experience that stood out the most in the past 2 weeks or so.
I guess, yeah, it's very busy, as you can imagine, right? We're getting ready to move in about a month. So I think the only things I want to shout out, our kids' school officially ended 3 days ago, I think. And so our oldest is graduating 5th grade and finishing elementary school.
Oh,
very, it's a huge milestone in his life. I again, very clearly remember being his age, finishing elementary school, about to go into middle school. And combined with that, he's moving countries, moving schools, has no friends, right? So, but it was, it's a very, because of these milestones for our kids, I think, a lot of time of deep reflection, very sentimental. My wife and I both tearing up at random things, right? And when we see old pictures of him, my friends who have kids the same age, they're posting about, oh my God, I can't believe 6 years ago, it was distance learning. They were on an iPad because of COVID in kindergarten. And, 5, 6 years later, look, they're graduating, moving on to middle school. So, yeah, I just want to shout that out. I think I'm very, very proud of our oldest son for finishing elementary school. And especially in these last 6 months, like he's really, really grown into his own person. Yeah, if I were to be honest, I was a little concerned for a while. But these past 6 months, he's shown me like he's really maturing, really growing in responsibility and his passions and his work ethic and discipline and all that, while still being his really fun, funny, curious self. Like he's the one who really makes our family laugh all the time. So yeah, and then our third graders, Emily. I can say their names now because our second child is also finished third grade. So yeah, really, really big milestones. Other than that, I went. Oh, June. I just this morning I came back from my fourth Korean 운동회. Maybe it's my third. Anyway, I still remembered our episode on 운동회, and so yeah, it's just another
which was
thing.
Wildly unpopular.
Oh, was it?
I don't know. I think so.
Sports day.
Yeah.
But it was sentimental because I know this is also my last 운동회 in Korea.
Did they go through the same routine?
It's basically exactly the same. It's the same school.
I see.
So exactly the same, but also it's our youngest child's first 운동회, right? The previous 3 were for my third child. But again, it carried extra meaning because we just knew in a month we're going to be leaving. Our kids are not going to be in this community anymore. So definitely, actually, originally I didn't want to take the whole family. I told my wife, hey, you just take, our youngest, maybe our third because she knows all the teachers, but I'll keep the other 2 at home. But it was the right decision for all of us to go, I think, and do this one last time. Yeah. And then, yeah, I guess probably the biggest stress right now, June, is, the Korean rental system of Jeonse. I want to be very clear. Besides the first day of moving in and all the craziness, it has been awesome. Like we've lived, quote unquote, rent free for 5 years. Of course, we're losing interest, whatever, like there's an opportunity cost. But the system has been really great. Except for right now, which is like we're waiting for a new tenant to commit to move in before we can get our very large deposit back. And so just that uncertainty of knowing like, oh, if there's no tenant that signs, we might not get our money back in a timely fashion.
Yeah.
And especially because we were hoping to get the money back, wire it out of the country before leaving. But now at this point, we're just, probably not going to be able to do that, which is its own stressful thing. Like at some point, I'll have to fly back probably just to wire the money out. And again, the thing about the Jeonse system that I think is the craziest is that there's this expectation that the tenant that's moving out does not get their deposit back until a new tenant moves in. And so the homeowner will pay back the old tenant with the new tenant's deposit. So that's the one part that just... It's crazy.
I mean, it is crazy, but it is the homeowner's duty to give your deposit back on time.
Yeah.
So I think the normal practice is that they'll do whatever they can to find a new tenant, and it includes like lowering the rent.
I just want to make sure you do agree though that most renters, there's like an understanding, oh, I'm going to get my money back when the new renter moves in.
Yeah, of course. That part is definitely.
And like for compensation, it's like do you have to go through like formal legal process if they don't give it back on that day? And you're like, well, for every day you don't pay it back, I want, interest on the money you owe me, right? You have to do some sort of formal legal process to do that, right?
Yeah.
And it's probably not worth it for most people to do.
You don't have to. I don't think you have to go through a formal legal process to do that.
Okay.
I think it's just agreed upon, and they would just do it.
What if the homeowner's like, no, just wait till we find a tenant?
Then you have to go through a legal process,
which is like a big deal, right?
But the reason I'm saying this is because the last time I don't know if you remember, because I had this issue, right?
Your 집주인 did do it for you,
but there was like a 2-week delay.
Ah, okay.
And so that's a big issue for me if I wanted to move into a new house.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You need your deposit back to move into the next person's house.
And I believe that they paid me interest.
They did?
Yeah.
Okay.
For those 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is the part of the system that I think is is the craziest. Yeah, I think it should be a very clear understanding that the owner will just pay back that money. If they don't have it, then they need to get a loan or short-term whatever to pay it.
Yeah.
Or they should just have the money. Like that part to me is crazy.
I think that is technically true.
I know, but like this is what I'm saying. In practice, it's become the case that
Yeah.
people just understand, oh, okay, well, if it's a day or two late because you can't find someone or the move-in dates don't perfectly align, it's just like this cascading thing with like significant amounts of money. That's the part that's craziest to me.
Yeah.
Oh, I also heard, June, maybe this is too much information. We know for a fact this is our landowner's second property. And I think recent legislation made it such that you cannot get short-term loans on secondary properties. So this person really doesn't have a way to pay us back if we kind of demand it, right? And so until the next tenant moves in. I mean, that's crazy. This whole situation is so fragile.
That is.
Okay, anyway. Well, why don't you share that?
So it was supposed to be some other episode that had a very clear theme.
Yeah, I did not think we were going to talk about any of this today.
But then our daily life became a very long discussion. So we decided to make this an episode of its own.
Should we speedrun news trends and comments, though? I have one trend I just want to call out.
Okay.
So, June, have you heard of Pokemon cards?
Yeah, because Jeremy showed me.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, dude, Pokemon cards have gotten out of control in Korea. So they've been out of control in the US for like a year at least, maybe more, like a year and a half. Basically, you know, scalpers are people that buy things with the strict intention of reselling them. And it's the case where like any kind of Pokemon card at face value, which stores are required to sell, they can't upcharge, right? So they have to sell, in card sets that are still being printed, they have to sell at whatever the MSRP is. Legally, they're not allowed to sell more than that, right? But on the secondary market, which is as easy as Facebook Marketplace, you just literally like post, I have this, who wants it? It's selling for like twice as much. So think about that. You can like double your money anytime you see Pokemon cards.
Anything?
And basically, there's like one set that is not popular.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's like, oh, $100 a Pokemon. I buy it, sell it for $200. I just made $100.
So it's just currency now.
So you can imagine like how crazy it is right now. People are fighting. Stores are putting in limits. People are like trying to stock like the machines to know that they have vending machines for these things. Like when they're going to get restocked. They're waiting in line 24 hours in advance so that they can get access to this first. It is just craziness right now, right? Which I really hate because like the pure joy of a kid ripping open a pack to get the card he wants because he likes the character, not because it's worth $100. Like that is all lost right now. And it's basically become like pure capitalism at play, which is so painful. But anyway, the point is like this was not in Korea at all until like a month ago, and then out of nowhere, like the Pokemon frenzy has now reached Korea.
Out of nowhere?
I suspect it's all the tourists traveling here from America, seeing like, oh wow, I can get like Korean Pokemon cards this cheap, and just like going nuts with it. So anyway, I just want to say it's a trend in that like now that the crazy pricing and like lack of supply and everyone's trying to buy cards.
And it's a worldwide thing, sorry?
Now it's worldwide, I think.
I mean, are the cards designed in a way that it's worldwide? Like
No. I mean, I don't want to go super deep here, but there's like a Japanese version, a Korean version, and those actually mirror each other except for the language on the card. The English sets are actually completely kind of different. Like they'll do different sets together. The cards are a bit different. And then I know there's other languages as well. But the Korean set models the Japanese set, and yeah, those are different than the English versions. But anyway, it just makes me very sad. The reason why this is super relevant is that, you know, before my son had his birthday, people were asking like, oh, what does he like? And I was like, oh, he loves Pokemon cards, right? Because like a booster box, when I said that, was only like samman, like 30,000, right? Like $20. It's not a very expensive gift. But a month later, when it's time to actually buy it for his birthday, it like doubled or tripled in price. And I don't want to support this scalping. Like I don't want to ask like parents of kids to buy something expensive for my son. So I sent out this long message kind of awkwardly. I think I sent it in English. But it was basically like, hey, just so you know, I just looked at the price of Pokemon cards on Coupon. It's stupid expensive. It's 2 or 3 times what it should be. Please do not feel any obligation to buy it. However, if you've already purchased it, don't feel bad. Like, we're not gonna like, you have to be so. That's the Korean nunchi, right?
Yeah.
Like, I have to accommodate for the people who did buy it or who did want to spend more money or
Yeah.
who bought it cheap. Now they're gonna feel bad. Like, am I showing off by buying this card for you? Just so many thoughts going on, and it's all because the Pokemon card frenzy has reached Korea finally.
Wow.
I hate it. Like, I really do hate this, but it is what it is. So.
We're really living in different worlds. I never ever even knew that there's a thing called the Pokemon card
Yeah.
before Jeremy showed
Really?
me. Yeah.
Oh, it is crazy. Yeah.
Interesting. I remember collecting Dragon Ball cards when I was little.
Do you still have some?
No, I don't think so. And I don't, even if I did, I don't think it would be like the thing that.
You never know, dude. Like, there's all these stories about like, oh, my mom threw out my old Pokemon cards from 20 years ago, and it's
Yeah.
like she threw out $100 worth of cards. I'm going crazy right now.
Oh, whatever is just printed in that IP is just valuable.
No, not whatever, but like the cards that were, I don't know, $1, $5, $10 that 20 years ago now might be worth a ton. You just don't know. So go to your home in Daegu, find those Dragon Ball cards and look them up.
Have you ever collected any like baseball cards or?
Yes, everything.
Wow.
Yeah. So Magic the Gathering, I played. It was very nerdy, but I have a few valuable cards there. The funny thing is, like, I remember I got $10 a month allowance. That was my allowance when I was like in 5th grade, I think. And I would buy 3 booster packs, so three packs of cards for Magic the Gathering. And I just remember every time my dad like giving me a hard time, like, why are you wasting your money? It's so dumb. It's just this dumb game with dumb cardboard. Like, what are you doing, right? But whatever. Like, I guess he was like, okay, it's your money. You earned it with allowance. Like, spend it how you will. The ironic thing, June, it was an investment.
Yeah, it was.
I remember one time I was showing my dad. I was like, hey, Appa, remember these cards I bought? Like, these alone are worth $1,000. And I think in my lifetime, I spent like 100 on these. So I like 10x my money.
Yeah.
Of course, like 30 years later, right? But he's like, oh, what do I know? But I could go on. We collected a lot of cards. Yeah, baseball, basketball, everything.
I have books that are kind of like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
that have gone up in value?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because like architecture books, they're usually they don't print it out that much, and they
Wow.
discontinue something.
Yeah, you
but
have,
they're
like,
still
rare books.
Yeah, yeah, and some are like thousands.
What?
Yeah, I
In
think-
in your room over there?
no,
In your home in Daegu?
no, it's there.
Oh, yeah. No, dude, getting your Pokemon cards or whatever stolen is
Yeah.
like a big deal. And you have to like get them
I
insured.
can imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a tiny piece of cardboard worth
Yeah.
$1,000. Yeah. Okay. Wink, wink. So your most expensive books are thousands of dollars.
I think so.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
It makes sense though.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say like original print Dragon Ball manga or something from your childhood.
I wish I had those.
Okay, another daily life thing before we wrap. I went to a card show last weekend, I think.
A card show?
Yeah, card convention. So there's like a massive, like this wasn't at COEX, but COEX has like those giant convention halls.
Yeah.
Right? Wedding, blah, 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 home improvement, health, baby. But this one was for card collectibles.
Wow.
Oh, dude.
That
it's
sounds
nerdy.
amazing.
Oh, it was awesome. It was so crowded. And I actually heard that like BTS members like rolled through, and I don't think they paid them. I think they just had celebrities who were interested, and they were coming and walking around kind of incognito.
Any type of card?
It was mostly Pokemon, but there's all sorts of like collectibles now. There's like K-pop cards. There's Korean baseball cards or whatever.
Pokemon is so geniusly designed in its IP, right?
For its merchandising, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
June, any news or trends you want to touch on?
One of the trends that I wanted to mention in my last episode when I was talking about how I went to the jazz festival
Yeah.
is that how all the people who are wearing shades, sunglasses, are like wearing a similar shape now. they're not round anymore.
Yeah.
Have you realized? They're like all like very like thin and long.
Uh-huh.
And-
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah.
It's kind of like
Matrixy, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know like how everyone got
All
into
of a
that trend. Yeah. I was the only one with the old fashioned
shit.
glasses. It's like everyone just agreed upon like,
Yeah.
oh, let's like buy new glasses.
Korea moves so fast. Yeah.
But everyone like was
Crazy.
wearing
I mean, jazz people are more maybe aware of their aesthetic. I don't know why I have that connotation, but
maybe
they're like cooler and more cultured, right?
probably. Yeah.
As far as listener comment goes, we should at least touch on this. I was overwhelmed by the, wait, what's so funny?
No.
What?
No.
Wait, because it's too long?
No.
Okay. Weird. We just have to at least mention it, June. When we published our, like, oh, this is the end, what did you call that episode? The beginning of the end?
Yeah.
So when we formally announced that we'll be winding down this podcast, we were just flooded is really the right word. I think we got 30, 40 emails and messages from listeners that were just, again, in line with our listeners, very well thought out, very deep, very thoughtful, and just telling us about, their life story, how the podcast has been a part of it, whether they're, adjusting to life in the US or whether they lived there before and have moved back to Korea and whatever, right? But we were even considering dedicating an entire episode just to read these and respond to them. But we, and really June,
that's why I was
against
laughing.
it. Oh. So I just want to at least say, like, I read every single one.
I did too.
Okay. We read every single one. It meant so much to us. At some point when we have time, probably I'll be in America, settling down, have some coffee, kids are at school. I'll finally get around to responding to them. But yeah, we aren't planning to read them all aloud. There would be too many to read. And June, I think you thought they'd be too repetitive.
Yeah.
I think also it would be feel a little bit like self-flattering, like kind of a little bit bragging. No?
No, I didn't get that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you just thought it'd be too repetitive.
Yeah.
Really?
And so I think the exact wording that I use is that I'm just like generally not that interested.
Yeah, you were like, I don't really want to do that episode. I was like, okay.
No, I just wanted to be clear that it's not because I don't think that the content is uninteresting. I just thought that the episode wouldn't be that interesting.
Because we're just reading and responding?
Yeah.
Okay. It would have been one of my favorite episodes.
Oh,
Jude.
really?
No. I don't know. It's just, I'm so touched by our listeners' feedback and comments. And I just want to make sure that everyone who's written in or messaged us knows that.
I mean, we can do it.
No.
I didn't know it meant.
They're just so thoughtful and heartwarming.
I know, but
I do think we have the best listener community in that sense.
agreed.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I think with that, we need to wrap up so we can do our next one. We are not going to have enough time, but we'll do our best.
All right. See you in 2 weeks.
Bye.
Bye. I don't think I've ever said that.
See you in 2 weeks. Okay. Good. But so all of this I thought was not.
It matches my shirt.
Cheers.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
생각보다 안 비싸네.